Hey guys, I'm Brad Phillips here with Puppy Steps Training. Also introduce Skylar. She's going to step in here in a little bit to help me get through this demo. So I do have Lady here with me. Lady is a super sweet puppy. She also has a very unique personality, which you guys I'm sure will love. She is going to be a great little house dog, and which she'll be perfect to fill that role for your family. So before we jump into all the manners and the obedience and all that, first I just want to talk about her personality, also kind of the secrets of dog training and how to continue with it. So first of all, Lady, like I said, she has a very sweet personality. She is ideal for a family dog. She almost identifies as a cat. So she really doesn't have a whole lot of motivation, which has made training kind of a little difficult. So don't expect her to do a whole lot. When you get her home, she really is just happy laying around, doing nothing. She does get her most energy when it comes to cats as well as other dogs, so you'll see that. But also just understand that there's nothing wrong with her. She just really doesn't have a desire to do much other than lounge around, which will make a great little family dog. So we have done all this training with her though, and you do want to keep up with that, and you want to make sure that it transitions over. So it's important to remember kind of the two secrets to dog training, and that's management and consistency. If you can do these two things, you will have success with your dog. If these two slide, that's when issues arise. So first off, management. Management is basically just maintaining control of your puppy. If you don't have control, there's no way to correct, there's no way to reward, and you're basically allowing her to fill this role of, I'm the boss, I can do whatever I want, you can't stop me, which is absolutely what we don't want. So management is just so critical. Maintain control, don't let bad habits get created. So a good example of this is, say you're outside, you're in the front yard, Lady's running around, and someone across the street steps out, or say a cat walks out. There's kind of two scenarios here. One is you have Lady out and she's off leash. At that point she sees the cat and she runs over there. There's nothing you can do to stop it. You can try and stop her and call her to come, but we already know that Lady loves cats more than people. And so that's an opportunity where she's going to disobey you, and there's not a lot you can do other than going and getting her. So scenario two, you're outside, you're letting her play around, and you have a long lead on her. Then she sees the cat and she starts to run. Now at that point, you can grab the long lead, tell her no, correct her, and bring her back and engage with her there. So now you've just stopped her from ever getting to experience this bolting off and going and playing with the cat. Instead, she's corrected for trying, but then rewarded by you engaging with her and playing. And so you can see how by having that proper management, that proper control, you're stopping these bad behaviors from ever becoming an issue. So same thing in the house. If you just immediately give her full access to your house, chances are she's going to have a few accidents and she's going to really regress in the house training. But instead, as you go through this transition period, you keep her on a leash, you keep 100% supervision, you're not allowing her to have accidents. You're managing, you're keeping control of her, and so then you're teaching her also the proper outlet. You're showing her that, hey, the bells mean the same thing in my house as it does at training, and so you're helping her understand that the bells mean to go outside, and you're going to prevent a lot of accidents from happening. So you can see that by maintaining control of your puppy, you're going to make sure that you teach her your expectations. So then this consistency. You do have to be consistent with rewarding as well as correcting. So when we reward her, so she knows the word okay. Okay is our marker. It means that she's done a behavior correctly and that she's done. It also means that there's going to be some type of reward to follow. We do use food very heavily. We've had to really just try a variety of different treats to see what's rewarding to her. But then we also will use affection and toys as well as praise. Try and mix those in so that you don't have to always have food on you. On the other side of things, you do have to correct your dog. So if she does something wrong, we use the word no or nope, or sometimes I'll even be like something like that. These are, sorry I lost my wording. Basically we use these words along with varying body language and voice fluctuation. Those are two factors that dogs read really, really well. So to give a good correction, you don't have to actually physically dominate your dog. Instead, by raising my voice, by adjusting my body language, I can really give a meaningful correction. And so if she does something simple like I'm having her do a stay and she breaks, I would just simply be like, no, and I would have her do it again. Whereas if she tried to run off or jump on me or try to steal food out of my hand, anything like that, then I would get a little bit more firm and I'm going to use a commanding tone. That way I can give her that good correction without being too dominant, basically. You don't want this relationship to be built on you dominating your dog or inflicting this, hey, I'm the boss, you have to listen to me. It's more respect out of you for being the leader. So anyway, that's the consistency and the management. If you can do those things, you'll have success with her. Now, the other thing that I want to talk about real quick is this transition period. So for the next 2 to 4 weeks, she's going to undergo a stressful period where she's trying to adapt to living with you in your home. She's trying to get used to the way that you say things, the way that your household is ran, all of these things. And it can be very, very stressful on a dog. And that's why we give that 2 to 4 week window. Because some dogs are, easily adaptable and can fit right in within 2 weeks. Other dogs take a little while to feel comfortable. And so during this time, she may lose her appetite. She'll probably also have to go to the bathroom more frequently, may get a loose stool. These are all common things. And so during this transition, you don't want to push her too hard. You don't want to stress her out and break down behaviors. Instead, we want to make her feel confident and comfortable in her environment. So enforce the manners. Those have to be in place. She can't get away with those. But take it easy on the commands. Don't expect her to hold these elaborate stays. Instead, help her out. Help her understand the way that you say things by rewarding her and building her up and focusing on yours and hers relationship. So those things are really going to help this transition run smooth. Now, the last thing I'll talk about before we get her out and do these manners and commands and stuff is the socialization aspect. We spent the first 2 weeks strictly working on socialization. During that time, we're building confidence, we're helping her feel comfortable in uncomfortable situations. So there's a lot of exposure there. Getting her used to different animals, different people, sounds, textures is a big one, elevated surfaces. Anything that we can think of, we do it in a controlled environment so that we can help her feel secure and feel confident. And we're really looking for any anxious or aggressive or timid behaviors. If those do pop up, then we focus on making sure that they're not going to be severe and helping them feel confident. During this time, we work on a lot of engagement, and what engagement is if I noticed that there was a sound or a distraction that really upset her, I would call her over, have her be in front of me, and I would jackpot reward her, which just means I'll just, okay, good girl, and I'll sit there and shovel food or praise or just making her really engage with me so she's excited, it's positive, and she's learning that good things come from me. And this distraction isn't going to bother her, it's going to become background noise. And a lot of times I'll even put my back towards that distraction. So, and you can do this in your home. If you think that she feels a little bit uncomfortable, you can really build her up that way. Also, when something really distracting comes out, like if you are on a walk and another dog comes out, that's a time where I'll get down on her level and I'll really focus on her engaging with me so that I can be the reward and that other dog is not important. So, with that, we are going to pull her out. Like I said, I'm going to have Skylar hop in here and help me. We will probably have to break this up, so hopefully it won't be too chunky. But sometimes, lady, she just doesn't have much of an attention span, and we have a hard time motivating her sometimes, so we might have to stop, let her rest, and then continue on just so we can show everything. A lot of times these demonstrations, just the video is about 45 minutes, then when we add it live, they're like an hour and a half to 2 hours, and it's really hard to keep a puppy's attention span for that long. But now we are going to hop right in with the manners. Alright, so for the manners, the first one you're going to see is our gates and our doorways. So anytime lady comes out of the crate, she goes through a closed door in the house, or we go through a gate outside, I expect her to hold a stay. Now this should be implied. I shouldn't have to tell her anything. She should just do it automatically. Now, because she is still a puppy, times will arise where she does break or she does make mistakes, and that's where that consistency really comes in. I will always enforce the rule, even if I have to do it again. So if she did try and break, I might simply close the door, maybe lift up my leg and block her. If she was really persistent on pushing her way out, then I might actually tell her no. But I shouldn't ever have to tell her to stay. Okay, good girl. Good girl. Gotta see if we can get her motivated to even wake up. Okay, good girl. Oh, good girl. Oh, big stretch. So, I'll show you her house door here in a minute, but you can see what she's doing here is her greeting. So anytime I call her over to me, I expect her to do this sit in order to greet me. This shows me that she's in control and that she's not going to jump up on me or have any issues that way. Lady, come here. Lady, come here. Come here, lady. So anytime I call her over, I expect her to do this sit. Good girl. And then I'll give her attention. Good girl. So this gives her something to do. She's not going to be jumping up on me or having any issues that way. It's also going to, when she sits, her eyes are going to come up and it's going to give me her eye contact, which gives me her focus. It gives me 100% of her attention. Good girl. Good girl. Good girl. So with her jumping, we've taught her the command off, and that's whether she jumps up on me or tries to jump up on another person or a couch, anything. I tell her off and I expect her to get right down. Now, if she put her paws up and she didn't immediately get down, then I would actually go and I would push her paws down. You don't have to be forceful. It's just showing her that, hey, I told you to get off, you have to get off. You have to follow through and you have to give her the instructions that she needs. Now, if we were outside and she was running around being crazy and she came up and tried to jump on me, with the bigger dog I actually bring my knee up and block them, like knock them in the chest, knock them back. With her I'll just simply kind of lift my leg, but I'm not going to allow her to actually jump up on me. I'm going to correct her. Because even though she's tiny and it doesn't really affect anything, I still do not want her to jump off or jump up. And so then I'll give her the command off. Now, if she decided that she really wanted to jump up on your child, at that point I would hook a leash on her. Where's my leash went? So I would hook a leash on her, and then I would walk her up to my child. As soon as she tried to jump, I'd give her 2 quick pops, tell her no, off, and I would turn around and walk away. Then I'd turn around and I'd do it again. And I would do this like 3 or 4 times, or until she just came up and sat and did that greeting. Once she sits down, then it's high praise. You're going to reward her, make it so that it's positive, and you're teaching her what your expectation is. She's done pretty well with the jumping, but she is a tiny dog, and sometimes she's just trying to beg for your attention, and you don't even notice she's there. So that's also why that greeting is so important, is because it gives her something to do, so you want to reward that behavior, because that's the appropriate behavior. But off is the correction, and to enforce it, you can either use a leash correction, 2 pops, or block her with your leg. So, our next manner would be our mealtime manner. So anytime we feed her, I expect her to hold a sit stay. So where she just sat down, I can just ask her to stay. Okay, good girl, okay. So okay does release her, but she's really not motivated to do much here. If she refuses her food and walks away, then I immediately take it away, which, like I mentioned on the phone, she really doesn't eat very much, so it doesn't surprise me that she doesn't want it. During her meals, I do spend a lot of time handling her. I want to make sure that there's no resource guarding or any type of aggression, like food aggression. Also do this when she has like bully sticks or bones, anything that can be high value. Whereas where she is a small dog, we spend a lot of time handling her anyway, making sure that she's not overly sensitive. I can put her onto her back, handle her paws, her tail, her ears, muzzle. I don't want any type of aggression there, which she hasn't displayed any. Yeah, good girl. Now we also use toys as like redirection. If she does seem to be a little bit mouthy or anything like that when you're playing with her, this isn't a type of aggression. It's just more she's trying to get your attention or trying to play best she knows how. And so because of that, toys make a great barrier for dogs with kids. Instead of, wanting to nip on a hand or jump, the toy redirects them, gives them something to do. Hey! But she found a treat on the floor. Doesn't have a lot of toy drive. Every once in a while we can really get her to play. Come here. Ah. But, oh, here we go. Maybe we'll get her. Oh, good girl. Good girl. Good girl. No. Me. Oh, good girl. So when she is playing, I can just ask her to drop it. And I expect her to allow me to take it. She should physically let go of whatever she has. Good girl. Good girl. Good girl. Good girl. Yeah, good girl. We can't get her to play a little bit. Good girl. Drop it. Good girl. See how she physically releases it? Good girl. Good girl. Good girl. While I have her attention here, I might just play with her for a second. Good girl. Drop it. Good girl. Good girl. Now, if she ever didn't want to drop something, I'll take my hand over the top of her muzzle and kind of pinch in. And so you're pinching her lips against her canines. And so it's not hurting her, it's just causing a little discomfort where she'll just open her mouth. But in general, you can just say, lady, drop it. Good girl. And she'll just let go. Now I have the same expectations no matter what she has. Drop it. Good girl. So if I pulled out like a bully stick, let her pick it up. I should be able to handle her. I should be able to take it whenever I want. She shouldn't give me any fits or any aggression there. So you can see I can just take it. She's chewing on it. I can just tell her, drop it. Good girl. And she should just let me have it. Now, also I can just, lady, drop it. No, drop it. No, good girl, good girl. She should spit it out and look at me. Good girl. We've also taught her the command gently, and so if I want her to take this very cautiously, I can just tell her gently, gently. Good girl. And she should be aware of her teeth. She shouldn't nip at me. Same thing if I present a treat. I can give it to her in the palm of my hand and tell her gently, and expect her to be very cautious when she takes it. I shouldn't feel her teeth at all. Oh, tired of me taking it. Goes and hides in the crate. So if I'm going to give her a treat here, I can give it to her in the palm of my hand. Come here. And I can just tell her gently, and I expect her to be very cautious. Girl. Now, let's see. I make sure I cover everything here. Lady, you can see that she doesn't love her crate. She loves to hang out in there. Lady. And I'm going to close it so she doesn't take it back in there. So, now I just want to talk about chewing. So chewing is a behavior you can't escape. Lady is teething. She's still got a handful of these baby teeth to lose. Yep, in fact most of them still loose. And so chewing, once again, is a behavior you can't escape. We do work on that though. We work on basically managing the behavior. And so the way that you manage it is by avoiding and replacing. So if you can avoid giving her free access to things you don't want chewed up, that is going to be the best way to prevent something from getting chewed up. However, in my house at least, it's never possible. There's always something they have access to. And so in that case, I want to make sure that I replace it. And so I replace it by something of equal texture or consistency. So if I saw her go up and she wanted to chew on like a soft pillow or a soft bed, maybe even a sock, something like that, I would tell her no, and I would replace it with something of similar consistency or texture. If she wanted to chew on a table leg or something hard, I could give her a bully stick. If she wanted to chew on shoelaces or her leash, I'd give her a rope toy. And so if you can match that consistency, you're going to teach her what she's allowed to chew on and what she's not. Also, like a bully stick or a marrow bone, something like that, is high value, and so that's really kind of a replace all. You can use that in a lot of different situations. Now also, chewing can be a destructive behavior, and destructive behaviors usually are caused by lack of exercise as well as not enough mental stimulation. I don't know that she'll have any issues because of that, like she's not one that wants a ton of exercise or is really engaged in wanting that stimulation. However, just boredom still can cause some chewing, and so giving her something to chew on during those times is huge. So even as simple as maybe you have a downtime where you're reading a book or watching a show, I'll just give her something to chew on just so she has something to do. Now, if I do give her something to chew on, like this bully stick or a toy, if she gets up and leaves it, I take it away. She doesn't have unlimited access to her own things. And that's what we're trying to do, is create a novelty effect. And so I want it to be exciting still if I pull that toy out. Whereas if she just has unlimited access to all her things, she's going to get bored with them and she's going to go find something new to chew on. And so by rotating them, by giving her different things, by putting them away, you can kind of maintain some excitement there. With her mouthing, if she tries to mouth on your skin, I will just simply correct her. So if I was petting her and she started to mouth on me, I would just quickly tell her no, and I would grab her muzzle. So you're not trying to hurt her, I'll just hold it for a second, tell her no, and then withdraw myself. And so dogs feed a lot off of our energy, and so if I'm getting her really excited and it's fun, and so then she starts nipping, if I tell her no and then withdraw all that, they can clearly understand that they did something wrong. So then you wait a little bit and then you can go back to petting her. So same thing if she wants to nip on your kids, just quickly tell her no, grab her muzzle, hold it for a second, withdraw her from the child. Okay. If you do have any questions with any of these manners, please don't hesitate, reach out, give me a call. But now we will hop into her obedience commands and show you what she can do.
So our first command is going to be watch me. When I say watch me, I want ladies' eye contact. Dogs focus on what they're looking at, so watch me is a great command to get her focus back onto you and away from something she may be looking at. Watch me! Lady! Okay, so she's a little distracted, so we're going to try that again. Watch me! Okay, good girl! So you notice I asked for that command once, she did not respond to me, so instead of me saying watch me, watch me, watch me, I'm going to make my voice a bit more enticing, I'm going to make kissing noises, but I'm just not going to repeat the command for her multiple times. Watch me! Okay, good girl! Our next one is sit. The hand gesture is very simple. It's like this. She's already in a sit, so I'm going to call her to me, ask her for a sit, and then I'm going to ask her for a sit-stay. The stay gesture is out like this, like a stop sign. Lady is at 15-second sit and down stays. This, of course, can be lengthened the more you develop your relationship with her and the older she gets. Lady, sit, stay, no, so she broke. I'm going to correct her, and I'm going to have her do it again. Sit. Stay. No, she's distracted by the bed. So I'm gonna move a little bit over here so she doesn't get confused. Lady, sit. Good girl. Stay. No. So she's breaking a couple times. So I'm going to make it easier for her to succeed. So instead of trying for 15, I'm going to try for 5. Stay. Okay, lady. Good girl. Good girl. A lady has her good days and her bad days. If she's not going to give me the full version, I don't want her to get too frustrated. I don't want her to quit. So I'm going to make the task that I'm asking easier for her to complete. We always want to end on a really happy note. A good rule of thumb is that if she breaks twice, you are going to make it easier for her on your third try. Our next command are her downs. Bless you. So our full version of down has the handler just standing upright. But with lady, I'm going to need to crouch low and get on her level. I always have her start in a sit, and I have my hand down and I bring it down to the floor. Down. No, sit. Good girl. Down. So if she's going to be confused, I'm going to bring out my treat lure. Down. Okay, good girl, good girl. Stay. Okay, lady, good girl. So you notice I did not do the full 15 seconds for her down stay because I knew that she cannot hold it as long today. So I just asked for a bit of a shorter one. On her good days, we can add quite a bit of distractions. We've done treat drops. I've been able to turn around and have my back facing her. But if she's not going to give me that today, there's really not much you can do about it. Lady, go to bed. So I don't care what position lady is in on the bed as long as all 4 paws are on the bed at all times. I will give her a treat for going on the bed. I'm not going to give her a treat for being released. Being released is a treat in and of itself. Okay. Good girl, good girl. We're going to do that one more time. Lady, go to bed. I'm pointing toward the bed. I'm orienting my body towards it. So if it looks like she's going to break, I'm going to take a step forward. She responded well to that very simple body language. Okay. Good girl, good girl. You notice I'm being very happy and preppy with lady. She really responds well to those high-pitched, happy voices. You can't really get too frustrated with her or she'll shut down fairly fast. Great. So I'm going to say it once. I just tapped on top. I'm going to wait. And if she's going to do that, if she looks confused, I'm going to put my hand in. Good girl, good girl. Okay. Good job, good job. Great. Good, so that time she ran right in. That was the full version. Okay, lady. Good job, good job. So sometimes she has trouble being released from the crate, which is why I put my hand out just to entice her to come out. If she wanted to be stubborn and stay in there, I'm not going to say okay 10 times in a row. I'll say okay, come here lady, good job. And if she's still going to be stuck in there, then perhaps I'll just walk away. And she can come out on her own time. If you're really pressed for time, what we've done a lot during training is I have her on the leash and I release her, and if she doesn't come, I'll just tug her out. Alright, next on her command list is leave it. So when I say leave it towards something, I expect Lady to leave that something alone forever. So it could be some really gross poop on your walk. It could be chocolate that's fallen off the counter onto the ground that you don't want her to get. It could be really anything that you want, or I guess you don't want her to have. Lady, I'm gonna back up a little bit so you can see me better. Lady, leave it. Okay, good girl. Okay, good girl. Lady, leave it. Leave it. So we have 3 treats so far. Okay. Good job. Alright, so that is it for her commands. We are now going to discuss crate training and house training.
Alright, so now we're going to talk about crate training and then we'll dive into house training. So with crate training, along with the crate command, it's important to note that with that command, you want to mix it up and make sure that it's variable and it can be exciting and fun. You don't just want to use that command when you lock her up because pretty quickly she will learn that just means to be locked up and she'll no longer want to go in. So, anytime throughout the day, if you're by the crate, you can leave like a bag of treats right there and send her in and out a couple times just to make it fun and rewarding and variable. So with the crate training, she's been doing really well with the crate. Early on, she would really protest it, but now she's been sleeping through the night, so we put her to bed around 10 and get her up at 6. She has not been needing a break in the middle of the night, and we haven't had any accident issues for quite some time. She's also been good for 3 to 4 hours during the day. Make sure. Yeah, so she's doing 4 hours pretty easily, and that's, like I said, middle of the day without needing a break in the middle of that. So doing really well there. With that being said, though, she is going into this transition phase, which can be very stressful on a dog. We've kind of talked about that, some expectations of possibly getting a loose stool, going to the bathroom more frequently, undergoing a lot of stress. So it's not a bad idea, just in the middle of the night, the first night or two, set an alarm for 1 or 2 a.m., give her a quick break just so she doesn't get to the point where she's having to whine to get out and use the bathroom, and that way we also don't have an accident there. Like I said, that should just be the first night or two. When you do that, put her on a leash, walk her out to the area where you'd like her to go to the bathroom, give her that opportunity, and then put her right back in the crate. Because of the stressful time, she also may whine the first couple times you put her in the crate. This is completely normal, and once again, it's just because of that stress. So if Lady does start to have a hard time, like the first time you put her in there, it's smart to prepare for that. And so what we'll do is we'll give her like a bully stick, something just to help her calm down and relax. I'll also have like a blanket handy so that I can cover that crate and just allow her to cry it out. This should not last, but 15-20 minutes max. Hopefully it's not even that. A lot of times it's like 2 minutes, they figure it out and they relax. If it does get to the point where she's doing it every time, then I will correct her. We've introduced the word no hush, so if she starts getting out of control, you can ask her to do that. But she has been doing really well. We haven't had to deal with any of those whiny issues for a while. So crate training's been great. Anything to add?
You will soon learn the difference between I want to come out and play, don't put me in the crate, and I need to pee sounds in the crate. Especially when you put her in at nighttime, and if she starts complaining, that is most likely due to the fact that she doesn't want to leave you and she wants you to let her out. It's really important that when she is throwing those temper tantrums that you do not let her out, because then she learns that barking and whining gets her out of the crate.
Perfect. So now we'll dive into the house training. So Lady has been doing really, really well with the house training. But now she's leaving this known environment, going to your home, which is totally unknown. And so you can expect some regression here. But regression doesn't have to mean accidents. You know that she's going to have to go to the bathroom more frequently, and so we want to plan ahead for that. We want to make sure that we help her have positive experience, and we train to success, not to failure. So it's important to note that first thing you do when you get her home is give her the opportunity to go to the bathroom. You know that after a long drive, she's going to be ready for that. So I take her to the bathroom, and we won't even let her in the house until she's gone. At which point, when you do bring her in, I would make sure that you have a time where she does have some energy, and then you're going to want to introduce the bells. And so we're going to walk through that with you. We'll show you how to target the bells, which is the first step. Then we'll show you targeting on the door and how to continue with this. So for the first little bit, for the first at least 24 hours, I would have her ring the bells and go outside to the bathroom every 30 minutes. This is once again in just preparation that she does have to go to the bathroom more frequently. Most likely she won't go every time, but we want to make sure that we're ahead of her schedule so we're not having accidents. Once we finish that 24 hours, then we can start to lengthen it, go to 45 minutes for a day, the next day go to an hour. I do like to stay at an hour for a few days just to make sure that we get through that really stress-heavy part of the transition, which usually by day 3, you're kind of at least at that peak and starting to come down the other side. After that, through the next week and a half, you can build it up to 2 hours. 2 hours is our standard. Every dog leaving here should be able to hold it without having an accident, without needing to break for 2 hours. But I would not go past 2 hours for at least the next 4 weeks. We don't want to push her too hard, too fast, and then deal with accidents. Instead, I would rather take this little bit of an inconvenience and make sure that we build her up and show her that your expectations are the same as ours. Also, real quick, we'll note that look for good opportunities to have some positive repetitions. So first thing coming out of the crate, most likely she's going to have to go to the bathroom. So I would just take her over, allow her to ring the bells, give her the opportunity to go. Same thing, I'll look for indicators that she might have to pee. So panting, pacing, sniffing really heavily, those are 3 really good indicators. And then the last one is if she starts sniffing and starts doing little circles, at that point you skip the bells and just run. So it is also important that you understand that during this transition period, if she is out roaming around, she has to be under direct 100% supervision. And you have to understand that supervision is supervision, there's no way around it. If you cannot give her like 100% supervision, use the crate. That's going to be your #1 asset in this transition. That contains her, maintains control, and you're not going to stumble upon accidents. Because if you do stumble upon an accident, if she escapes your field of view and has one, there's nothing you can do. The old school rubbing their nose in it doesn't work. Dogs do have basically a short-term memory when it comes to that, and they're not going to understand why you're punishing them. And so that's why with this supervision, if she's going to have an accident, I want it to be right in front of me. And this gives us a really unique opportunity to create a black and white experience. So if she started to squat in front of me, that's like the scariest we get. We clap, we stomp, no, and I'm just going to grab her and run. The goal is to cut her off, basically midstream. We get her outside, she finishes, and then we adjust our attitude. We get really positive, we reward her, it's really fun and happy, and so then she learns like, hey, I just got corrected for peeing here, but I got rewarded for peeing here. So that way we can really teach her what our expectations are, and you can show her that your expectations are the same as mine. So now we'll pull out the bells, and we're going to see if she wants to, if she's motivated enough to do this. We're probably gearing towards the end of her attention span, and so, okay. So we'll see if she wants to. She's definitely staring at Skylar, so we might have to switch off. But I'm just going to hang the bells here. So during this time, okay, good girl. I am literally just going to, don't want cheese. I'm going to mark the expected behavior, but other than that, I'm not going to give her any other cues. I'm trying to see if I got some hot dogs. Oh, I got cheese left.
She's very picky about cheese.
Alright, here's a couple pieces of hot dogs. So we'll try this again. So I'm just going to hang them here. Okay, good girl. There we go. Okay, good girl.
You'll notice Brad is not shoving the bell in her face. He is letting her figure it out on her
Okay,
own.
good girl. Good girl.
You don't ever want to force Lady to ring the bells.
Okay, good girl.
She's also one of the few dogs that we make the no paw exception for.
Okay, good girl.
She had a bit of a hard time targeting them with her nose. But when she paws, it's a really nice and loud sound. So normally we don't allow that because it encourages scratching behavior. But with Lady, we really want that noise to be as loud as possible.
Okay, good girl. So now where she's hitting it consistently off of my wrist, at that point we're going to come over to the door. I'm going to hang them on the door. And I'm probably just going to step out of the way where Skylar has her. And we're going to do the same thing on the door. Just going to stare at the bells and allow her to touch them.
Okay.
And we're still at the point where we're being very positive, so even the lightest touch there we're going to reward, but we're going to progressively get to where we ignore that light touch and look for a louder, more direct touch. And so that's where what she was saying with the paw, if she paws it, I'm fine with that because it is alerting us.
Okay, good girl, good girl.
So now at this point we're also going to start switching our wording to include the word outside, which is our marker for going to the bathroom.
She is losing her motivation a bit, so I'm just going to say, okay, outside. Okay, outside! Once before taking her out. Normally we'll have her do that with me saying, okay, outside 2 to 3 times, but because this is Lady, once again, we're making that exception. I'm going to have her wait at the doorway. Okay, and take her out.
So while Skylar takes her out, I'll kind of tell you what she's doing. So we do take her every time outside on a leash. I give her maybe a minute or two to sniff around and find a spot to go to the bathroom. She does have her spot, so usually once she catches that scent, she'll go fairly quick. If she goes to the bathroom or goes number 1 really quick and is still sniffing around, I will give her that opportunity to hopefully go number 2. If she tries to roll around in the grass, I will just tell her no, outside, just very gently, and I'll keep walking because having her move is going to cause her to sniff and more likely to have her go.
Okay.
But if she shows me that she just doesn't want to go, she's not interested, maybe she's pulling, trying to go check out the cat, which is what she's doing there, then we're just going to come back inside. And if she doesn't go, it is just a neutral experience. I'm not going to correct her for not going to the bathroom, nor am I going to reward her. It's just, okay, you didn't go, we're coming right back inside. So now, where she just went out, whether she peed or not, the first time that we do this, I'm going to do it like 4 times in a row. So that's why I say we want a time to do this when she has the most energy, so before we worked with her, where I'll turn around, have her ring the bells again, tell her, okay, good outside, or okay outside, and then we're going to walk her out again. Come back in, do it 1 more time. And so I'm just trying to get a lot of meaningful repetitions right off the bat, so she is immediately seeing where the bells are at, and that they mean to go outside to this bathroom area. That way we can keep this consistency. After you've done this a handful of times off the door, that's where I'm going to set my timer for 30 minutes. And every 30 minutes, I'm going to walk her over, let her ring the bells, and give her the opportunity to go outside. It is so important that every time she rings the bells, we take her out to the bathroom and then right back in. We're never going to play. We're never going to do anything fun. Just going outside to go to the bathroom. Also, after about 2 days, I'll stop rewarding her when she rings the bell and only reward her when she pees. So, but if you need any help with this, please don't hesitate to give me a call. You can also look at this demo over and over again. That's what's nice to see this. Also, I do have other demos where you can see with a dog a little bit more energy at the time how they respond and what the expected behavior there is. It's once again just stressing the 100% supervision. If you can't give her that supervision, put her in the crate. Also just make sure that you give her the opportunity to go. And don't be frustrated if it's been a week and she hasn't went and targeted the bells herself. Because during this transition phase, you're giving her so many opportunities to go that she's not going to need to run over and target it by herself. So, anything to add there?
Also, during this transition phase, if she is napping, you don't need to wake her up from her nap at the 30-minute mark to take her outside. You can wait till she's woken up and then take her out.
Alright, so the last thing we're going to talk about here is our leash work. So we do take Lady on 2 different types of walks. First being the attention walk, and then second being the long lead or an off-leash walk. So the attention walk, we're actually going to go outside and show you that. But before we do that, a couple commands here. First is let's go. Let's go just signifies that we're moving. It's time to walk. It's time for you to pay attention to me. And then the second one is easy if she starts to pull. If she does start to pull, I'll give her a simple 2 pops on the leash, just a quick leash correction. And that's not to inflict harm or anything that way. It's just to gain her attention back. Excuse me. Gain her attention back to then change her behavior. If she continues to want to pull, then I'll correct her again and I'll actually turn her walk away so that she's not allowed to progress towards whatever she's trying to pull at unless she's in control. The other nice thing is if she is pulling, she's small enough you can pick her up and remove her from the distraction. But once again, before we go outside and see that, I'm going to let Skylar talk about our long lead and off leash walks.
Okay. So as you've read in the notes, you have read that Lady has gotten significantly better with her recall. We're actually really proud of the progress that she's made in these past couple weeks. So now Lady is responding to us about 97% of the time on her recall, where we say, "Lady, come!" And we make sure it's really loud, it's really clear. I get her attention before I issue that come command. However, during this transition, the long lead is going to be your best friend. As you develop that relationship with her, you're going to need the long lead as a management tool. Lady is not going to come to someone that she does not know, she does not have a relationship with. You're going to need to build that up. So you're going to have the long lead, which the ones we use differ between like 15, 20, and 40 feet. She can just drag it along behind her. I like to have it hooked to my belt. You can just hold it in your hand. Let her be a dog. She gets to sniff, and every about minute or so, you're going to say, "Lady, come." And if she comes to you, she gets a treat. She gets to go back to whatever it was that she was doing before. However, if she wants to ignore you, you're going to say no, and you're going to reel her in like a little fish. This way, she is not allowed to ignore you for her recall. The more time you spend with her and the more you develop that trust, she will be able to switch to her off-leash recalls. As you transition, you're going to do the same thing where every 30 seconds you're going to call her. Hopefully she will come to you. 9 times out of 10 she'll come to you, she gets a treat, and she gets to go back to whatever it was that she was doing. On the 1 time out of 10, that is when the fun ends, when you bring her inside, when you leash her, and when it's time to stop playing. We do this so dogs learn that the recall is a fun command and not something that just ends the fun. If she is off leash and she does not come to you, you said, "Lady, come," and she looks at you and says, "No thanks," you are going to say no, and you're going to walk calmly towards her, and you're going to put her on leash and take her away. Is there anything else you want to add to her recall?
Just a couple rules of thumb that we do. 1, don't use this recall in the house. There's no need. You have control. You don't want to burn this command out. And that's something we see a lot, is people burn out the command. They use it when there's no reward, there's nothing stimulating them, it's just to get them out of the way. So instead, if you are in the house, you want her to come over, you can use something like, "Lady, come here." Snap, something like that that's really enticing. Also bending down, kind of tapping the floor. But you don't need to always use this command. Instead, we actually like to use it only when we're practicing or when we really need it. That way we preserve the integrity of that command. You just don't want to burn it out.
So let's show you her attention walk outside.
So you'll notice Lady is sitting next to Skylar. When we do start this type of walk, we do want them to sit first just so we can gain their focus. We definitely are at the end of Lady's attention span, so we're going to try and make this fairly quick. But you'll notice how Lady is walking next to Skylar with a nice loose leash. That is our expectation. You'll also notice that she's periodically checking in with Skylar. That way she maintains some focus. She's doing a very good job of ignoring most of the grasshoppers, but there is some grasshoppers on the road, which is a big distraction.
Good girl.
But you'll notice If she does put her nose to the ground, Skylar just gives her a little tap on the leash up, just a quick correction, and expects her to make eye contact again. You'll also notice there where Skylar stopped, that Lady sat down. That is also an expectation that every time we stop, Lady should sit. If she doesn't immediately offer that sit, we will ask her, but we want to build the expectation that as soon as we stop, Lady should sit, and that way she's not wrapping us up with the leash.
Lady, sit.
Thanks again for allowing us to train Lady. If you do have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. And thanks again.